Good morning. Welcome to your program, Agenda, here on One News, Cignal TV channels 8 and 250. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, thanking you for joining us today, December 13, 2023. It's a Wednesday, and thank you to all our Cignal TV subscribers, to all those who watch Agenda via Facebook and YouTube, as well as on the Cignal Play app. And of course, thank you to PLDT Home Fiber Optic Internet, Mr. Marco Borlongan, for your support of the program. Today, we are going to have three guests talking about three different topics. So we're going to do a quick run around and hope you'll stay with us. If you're curious who we are speaking with today, we will be featuring the General Manager of the Manila International Airport Authority, who handles all of our airport terminals, airports, and we'll find out what to expect this holiday season, especially how early should you go, will you find a place to sit down, etc., etc. And then that'll be followed by the chairman of the Metro Manila Development Authority, and who will discuss with us what they are currently doing, and with whom we will be bringing up your many complaints that you send us. And finally, the spokesperson of the Toll Regulatory Board, because of the traffic, all the congestion, and all the construction that's going on. What is the TRB planning to be doing in preparation for the holiday season? We'll be covering all of that. So let's go to our daily starter for today, which comes from CCF Head Pastor Peter Tanchi. Gab, if you would. You have no excuse not to serve the Lord. Surrender your disqualifications. There are many of us who come up with so many reasons why we cannot serve the Lord, because we generally think serving the Lord means serving in church, or being a minister, or being a church worker. No, hindi po totoo yun. So first, surrender what you feel is your disqualification. Like, oh, I'm busy at the office, I run a company, or I have 5 children, or I am just a student. Surrender your disqualifications, because I personally have discovered just making time, yung tinatabi mo, yung ginagawa mo, because someone needs to talk to you, making time for your parents, the elders who want someone to talk to, that is already ministry, giving, lending an ear, etc. So serve the Lord in the ways you can serve people. Okay, let's now go to the front page of the Philippine Star. And I don't know if he's trying to be controversial yet again, but he will definitely be courting controversy. House Speaker Martin Romualdez says House to push for Chacha next year. Ayan po, and I can already expect criticism and a lot of opposition and comments like, akala ba namin unity? Mukhang continuity. Anyway, that's the headline. Speaker, House to push for Chacha next year. Lawmakers will make another pitch for constitutional amendments next year, focusing on economic provisions deemed very prohibitive, Speaker Ferdinand Martin Romualdez said yesterday. Okay, we will have to wait and see. At the top of the front page, no extension of deadline for PUV consolidation. President Bongbong has said no extension. Days before the planned transport strike, President Marcos announced that the deadline for the consolidation of public utility vehicle operators would not be extended, emphasizing that the program that seeks to modernize the sector should not be hampered by a minority. Suportahan ta ka dyan, President BBM. Below that, you have a wide-angle photo of PBBM joining newly elected National Executive Board and regional presidents of the Lady Local Legislators League of the Philippines, Incorporated, following an oath-taking ceremony at Malacanang. Okay, here's a bit of concern, balita po na dapat ninyong pag-aralan, intindihin. 65 provinces face El Nino drought. I believe we have about 82 or 82 and 3/4 of provinces all over the Philippines. Yung iba kasi hindi malinaw kung probinsya o hindi. 65 provinces face El Nino drought, likely to be hit by severe drought by the first half of 2024. Marami na pong nagsasabi sa akin yan, lalo na yung mga matatanda. Cito, pag yung El Nino na yan, tumama, nako po, mamumroblema tayong lahat. Especially those of us who are in the agriculture sector. Meanwhile, boosting West Philippine Sea defense, part of ratified budget, MIGS. True to his early promise, Senate President Juan Miguel Mig Subiri yesterday announced that the Senate ratified next year's national budget with an additional 10.47 billion allocation for the much-needed boost to the country's defensive posture in the West Philippine Sea. And the center photo of the Philippine Star Mass in West Philippine Sea, pray for peace, pray for sovereignty. Tama po yan. On board, the Kapitan Felix Oka, even while in prayers, the sight of two Chinese warships and a Coast Guard vessel seemingly bearing on them was too much to ignore for the fisher folk and volunteers attending the Mass being celebrated by Father Robert Reyes on board the MV. Kapitan Felix Oka led leadership of the Christmas convoy in the West Philippine Sea. Yan po. Okay. And then special non-working day declared for December 26. Dahil hindi naman kayo papasok, dineclare ng holiday para wala ng away, wala ng diskurso. Philippines, U.S. vow closer coordination amid worsening China acts, with China becoming bolder in harassing Filipinos and committing illegal activities in the Philippine territorial waters. Top military officials of the Philippines and the United States held a teleconference last Monday. Yan po yung armchair diplomacy and military cooperation ng US. Okay, House freeze to SMNI hosts, Kibuloy Travel Watch eyed. Citing humanitarian reasons, the House of Representatives released from detention yesterday two hosts of the Sunshine Media Network International, co-hosts Jeffrey Celis and Lorraine Badoy, who were cited in contempt and detained in the Batasang Pambansa. Of course, not mentioned is the fact that they filed something in the Supreme Court questioning the legality of the detention. Iyon, okay. So siguro pinipreempt, I don't know. McDonald's Philippines opens its 7th Green and Good flagship store in the country in Ayala, Crescendo, Tarlac. Yan po, nadagdagan ang tambayan ni Ronald McDonald. That's all the news we have for the Philippine Star front page today. We'll go for a quick break and we'll start right up with our conversation with the General Manager of the Manila International Airport Authority. We'll be right back.
The Manila International Airport Authority or MIAA has its hands full for the expected influx of passengers during the holiday season. The agency just concluded its series of electrical works at Terminal 3 of the Ninoy International Airport this morning. And with the systems now green-lit, more passengers are coming through NAIA, especially as MIAA already recorded almost 4 million passengers at the Premier Gateway last month. MIAA is confident that they will meet their target of 45 million passengers by year-end. Aside from preparing for the holiday rush, the agency is also keeping an eye on scammers targeting passengers. They recently warned the public against people selling lost luggage at NAIA. What are the other plans of MIAA for the rest of the year and in 2024? Let's discuss this on today's agenda.
Bryan Ko is the officer in charge at Manila International Airport Authority or MIAA. Prior to this, Ko was MIAA's Senior Assistant General Manager. He also worked at Philippine Airlines as the head of its Integrated Operations Control Center.
Good morning, OIC General Manager Bryan Ko. Welcome to the program agenda.
Good morning, sir, and thank you again for inviting me in your program.
Okay, so let's get started. It's going to be a speed date this morning. What are the upgrades? Apparently, you guys just went through all your electrical upgrades, etc., and completed it, I believe, this morning. So, other than that, what other upgrades have been introduced at the MIAA?
Yes, sir. Of course, we're undergoing a massive capital expenditure program for MIAA because we're catching up on the underspending over the past few years. Of course, we had the COVID years. Critical for us would be the infrastructure that serves the passengers. So, what you mentioned, we already upgraded some of the electrical systems, which are very critical, especially for reliability and resiliency of our terminals. But the other facilities being upgraded, which are very important as well, are the air conditioning systems, the passenger boarding bridges, and of course, other simple items in the airport, such as procuring new seats, procuring new baggage carts. So these are all in line, and some of them will be ready before the holiday rush, while some will take time and will be installed over the next few months, even before the summer peak by next year.
Okay, what about, let me run through all of the feedback that people have been giving me in the last 2 weeks when I managed to get around. First up, people were commenting that the electronic boards, announcement boards, were smaller now. They're television size, and a lot of people my age were complaining. Pare, dapat mag-issue sila ng binoculars. Hindi na namin mabasa sa liit ng screen.
Yes, sir. In fact, we do note that, of course, for us to establish a more quieter terminal, we have to improve on the flight information display systems. So one of the projects that we're entering into is, of course, upgrading these systems, having bigger screens and deploying them in more areas which are more strategic, where our decision points of the passengers, whether they have to go to a certain gate or they have to go somewhere. So we currently have a project on this in terms of improving what we call the FIDS, or the information display systems. We really aim to have that up and running by next year. As you said, larger screens and deployed in more places so that the passengers will be aided accordingly.
Okay, the pet peeve of many, I personally observed this a couple of times in flights, the public address system. It seems that the NAIA has distributed the flight announcements per gate. And the problem is that in some cases, the ones who are making the announcements are not trained. They don't know how to use the microphones properly. They are not very clear in their pronouncements. So it's really, it's not something that hits the front page, but it's there and people are annoyed with it. Can't we just go back to the system where the entire airport has only one public announcer or person who does it, who is properly trained, and the gates simply radio that PA? Because there are instances that passengers are in a coffee shop. The coffee shops are different, are far away from the gate, and they don't hear the PA.
Yes, sir. As I mentioned, I think the ultimate goal is to have a more quiet airport, similar to other international gateways you go around the world. More flight information display systems, and of course, more information that the passenger gets on the palm of their hands in the tablets.
So what you're saying, Brian, is quiet. So walang unified PA system. It will simply be per gate. You will have a monitor where they display the announcements.
Yes, but we can only implement that subject to implementing that, of course, the proper distribution of the screens so that the passengers are aware where they have to go. If they have to change a gate, they have to go somewhere, if the flight's delayed or if the flight's boarding already. But still, if we still don't have that, sir, of course, what we have to do is still do the announcements. But we have been working with the airlines in terms of standardizing the announcements, not too little as well. Of course, as you mentioned, the proper way of doing announcements. So they are currently training their ground crews. A lot of the issues faced by the ground handling industry in the Philippines is that also the high turnover of ground personnel. A lot of the veteran personnel are seeking opportunities elsewhere. But of course, we have the commitment of the airline as well as the ground handling companies to improve. And they're looking also into aided technology. I think other airports, you will notice that they use, instead of a person doing the PA announcement, there's a VA assistant. This is a voice, kind of artificial voice intelligence already that being used by other airports. We are also exploring that together with the different airlines so that we can resolve this issue, because we do recognize that this is one of the top issues hounding us. A lot of complaints regarding the announcements, and of course, it does not help that the speakers are not the output speakers are not that distributed properly. Minsan medyo sabog yung sound. So those things we're also working as part of our CapEx improvement program for next year, po.
Yeah, because I think one of the issues there is you request passengers to come 2 to 3 hours before their flight. So they check in and they go to a coffee shop and make tambay or hang out there. And next thing you know, you have a person shouting. I mean, this, you've seen this. Oh, passengers of flight 2237. And people are saying, is that how backward your airports are? No. The gates are on the second floor. We are on the ground floor, etc., etc. So you have heard of the problem and you're trying to solve. You mentioned about the highest turnover of those ground crew. Are the ground crews, I mean, those manning the gates, are they airline personnel or are they contracted by the NAIA or MIAA?
They are ground handling personnel, and these ground handling companies are contracted by the airlines, not by MIAA.
So, because a lot of people assume, kasi naka-uniform sila, they are airline personnel. So, they're actually ano bang tawag mo doon? Job out or
service.
Contracted services. Okay. Now, talking about waiting for your flight, what do you now require passengers? How many hours should they be at the airport?
For this holiday season, of course, we are trying to advise that passengers be at the airport for domestic flights at least 2 hours before, and for international flights 3 hours before. But we have to remind them, of course, to incorporate the travel time going to the airport. With the holiday rush, even the traffic within the city gets a bit heavy. So that when they go to the airport, at least 3 hours for international, 2 hours for domestic, that would be enough. But if they can go a bit earlier, that would be much better, so that we can accommodate the passengers. Of course, they check in. After check-in, they would have to go through other formalities such as final security screening and immigration for international. We've had several programs to improve immigration processing so that we don't have long queues anymore. I think part of that is the airline reassignment that we did this year, which yielded good results as far as the CIQ, or the Customs Immigration Quarantine Deployment, is concerned. And of course, final security screening, that is very important. That's a step that we cannot do a shortcut on. Of course, we do ask for the understanding of the passengers that during the final security screening process, sometimes there would be queuing, but we are working with the Office for Transport Security so that we can improve that as well.
How is that, your situation with the Office of the Transport Security? Because we've had a number of problems with them, although half of the time they've also been unfairly prejudged. So how is that situation now?
Of course, right now they're a bit undermanned because for the past year or this year they've really been cleansing their ranks. So a lot of people were removed from the OTS because of some of the violations, but they are still hiring more personnel. But we really have to do this if we want to improve the services that the OTS is giving the riding public. And the DOTR's directive is, of course, to clean up the organization. But the good news is, of course, we have the commitment of the OTS and the government. They are hiring people, they are training people, and we are supporting them in terms of having to deploy the right amount of personnel during the peak season and moving forward as we expect a surge in growth in air travel here in the Philippines.
Okay. You request passengers who are traveling domestically to be at the airport at least 2 hours before, and for international travelers to be at the airport 3 hours before. The question is, will there be places to sit? Because this is another pet peeve of travelers. They have been complaining, Sir, nakaupo na kami sa simento, OFW na nga kami, sa simento pa rin kami nakaupo, etc. And also, there are a bunch of illiterates who still don't know how to read signs, so they don't respect, signs that says seat for pregnant women, seat for elderly, or for handicapped people. Do you now, or will you deploy minders? I think, Sir Bryan, that is what has to be done. We have to educate people and call out the people who put their baggage on chairs. Kasi konti na nga lang ang silya, iuupo pa nila, pati bagahe nila, malinis naman yung airport natin.
Yes, you are correct. I was just about to mention that, in terms of the seats, we might have enough seats, but the number of, seats being occupied by bags is current problem that we're having right now. And not just that, some passengers use the gang chairs to sleep on. So instead of being a 4-seater, it becomes a one-seater. But we are deploying our public affairs and our airport personnel to go around, especially during the holidays, to respectfully ask these passengers and tell them that we have to give the seats to other passengers as well, and the bags can be placed on the floor. But to give you an update about how we're managing that, because that the airport is actually just designed for 32 million passengers, and we're now actually this year going to accommodate 45 million passengers. So what we're doing right now is, because we already did the rationalization of the flight schedules and the transfers for terminals, you can take note that for domestic flights, it really has improved, especially for Air Asia Philippines. They used to be at Terminal 4, which is a very small terminal. We've moved them to Terminal 2, and I think we've got good feedback from the passengers of Air Asia Philippines that it really has improved a lot in terms of the comfort when they fly out of Manila from Terminal 2 compared to Terminal 4. Similarly, for the other airlines, based on the rationalization, we tried to remove the artificial peaks per terminal by moving one airline to another so that they can complement each other. Instead of having so much passengers at this terminal at a certain time, by doing the reassignment, we were able to manage that peak so that we can, of course, have a more efficient flow of our passengers. But yes, we do need to add spaces, and I think one of the critical things would be moving forward in the next few years. What do we have to do, knowing that now we are over our capacity? Of course, we do have that PPP program that we are embarking on so that we can expand the infrastructure of our airport.
Okay, going back to the seat issue first, Bryan. What about deploying some of the airport security personnel, particularly the ladies, to just go around the floor and reminding people? Because I think it's when they are challenged and they are reminded, oh, sorry, I didn't realize I shouldn't put my baggage on the chair. Hindi nga dapat. And when they're confronted or requested medyo doon nagkakaroon ng education. Okay, so that's just a suggestion because also I think it would help the airport's NAIA police to be more, to have more interaction with the general public imbis na paikot-ikot lang sila nagpapatrol, although that's their job. But anyway, just a suggestion, Brian.
Yeah, I think it's a good suggestion, especially to use our lady police officers to go around and, of course, to respectfully engage with these people and remind them about the proper way on how to use our airport facilities. We will take note of that and implement that this peak season.
You mentioned AirAsia, and our former agriculture secretary and agriculture activist Leonie Montemayor pointed out recently in his Facebook page that when they rode AirAsia, they were told that there is a no wine policy for baggage. And sabi niya, we've been doing this for so long, we wrap it with all our clothes, etc. And we tell the check, suddenly bawal. And I myself, well, I was asked to surrender an extension cord, those multi-outlet extension cords for European plugs, may mga adapters. And I said, this is standard accessory of journalists who are traveling na kailangan ng maraming saksakan. But sir, sabi ko, hindi ko nakita yan. And then, sir, sa check-in, hindi nga kami nag-check-in dahil online check-in kami. So clearly there's a miscommunication or lack of communication.
Yes, sir. The AirAsia, it's a bottle of wine. I will have to check that with AirAsia because usually if it's check-in bag, as long as they're packed properly, there should be no issues in bringing those things. Of course, when we do hand carry, of course, we're limited with the 100 ml bottles. But for check-in, I think that should be allowed. But let me check that with AirAsia and I'll get back to you. For the other issue about, of course, the restricted items that are the ones being prohibited to be brought on board as part of the safety and security, we do need to review in terms of a policy about how relevant our current regulations are. It is actually found as soon as I heard about these issues, especially from journalists, we sought to have it reviewed already so that we're working with the OTS to review that category about work tools. Somehow the extension cords are included there.
Sabi ko nga, hindi naman to drill, hindi naman ito power tool, extension cord na mailiit. But anyway, enough of me. But thank you for at least addressing that.
It's not just you, sir. We've received feedback from several parties. So I think it's high time to review the existing. Of course, we always have to review that based on the current times, right? So we're doing that right now with the OTS.
Okay, so good on that. Now, clarity on carry-on size and weight. Kasi may mga nagagalit din tayong passengers. We observe strictly the size and weight. Some people even buy the airline and airport compliant luggage for carry-on. And then they suddenly see people carrying 2 hand carries, may practically maleta na basta nagkasya sa overhead carriage. And some people are saying, that's not fair. You ask us to observe your rules, but you don't implement your rules. So yung sa airlines, Sir Bryan, no? So what's your reaction to this?
Well, it's really how do you implement this in a standard manner so that all passengers are, in terms of an objective manner, at least patas po lahat. So we would have to remind the airlines, of course, to implement this properly across all, different types of passengers. There's the piece system for some, for the check-in. Of course, there are different rules depending on the airline and sometimes depending on your fare type. But for the hand-carried luggage, there is an international standard for what you can bring on board. So it's if it's something that we have to remind the airline so that they can standardize in terms of the implementation so that all passengers will be subject to the same policy. I think that's what we will be doing right now.
I remember Cebu Pacific has done that. They actually have a cage where you're requested to put in your luggage.
You put it in,
Kung hindi mapasok, hindi pwede. Kung overweight, hindi rin pwede. So everybody lives with the same rules. Now, here's a problem. Arrival scammers. This I personally saw several times. It has been observed that when you come out of the NAIA 1, NAIA 2, etc., talagang halo-halo, labo-labo. It's a free-for-all. And some have said, why don't you just split those who have cars and vans picking them up versus those who are arriving and taking a cab or the co-op coupon taxi, because halo-halo, and then doon nakakapasok yung mga scammers and commissioners. Also, access to the coupon taxi, airport taxi is not direct because they're on the second lane and nai-intercept na sila nitong mga scammers. Why are these people even able to get in there with fake IDs? Hindi nga airport ID. ID-han lang, nakakapasok na sila doon.
Yes, sir. Depending on the terminal, of course, we're trying to remove restrictions for not just these passengers, but for the general public, so that the terminals can be somewhere that they go to, so they can pick up the passengers. But of course, we do note that so from time to time, of course, there are elements that are taking advantage of this and trying to make illicit profits out of this. Diba? Yung mga colorum, yung mga those who are trying to scam our passengers. So, but at the same time, we don't want to really militarize the airport. That we put barriers for people to go to. The airport.
But
so there
Sir
has to
Bryan,
be a right balance. Yeah.
Yeah, but Sir Bryan, we are at red alert for all intents and purposes after MSU, and the last thing we need is a problem at the airport. Correct?
Yes, but in terms of addressing that, of course, you mentioned that we do like to put a priority on public transport. There are plans to put them first before those that are being picked up. So similar to the setup at Terminal 1, if you notice, when you arrive at Terminal 1, the first layer would only be for accredited public transport. So and then you go to the lower level where you get picked up, with their private vans or cars. So we are designing the same for Terminal 2 and Terminal 3 by bringing in the accredited coupon booking nearer. As you even actually before you exit the terminal, you should be able to book already, so that we can avoid these scammers from intercepting them. So kasi they wouldn't be able to enter the terminal building. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the booking for the coupon, the accredited, inside the terminal after you claim your baggage, so that you get a slip already. When you go out, you just have to go to the bay where you're supposed to ride the vehicle instead of doing the transaction outside. So that's what we're doing right now, so that we can avoid this kind of illegal transaction.
Okay, very good. That's good news. Anyway, GM Bryan ko, I have to release you because we have two other topics. But thank you very much, and we'll catch up. And do call us if you need to announce certain things. We're here to support you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, and have a nice day.
Okay, that's Sir Bryan ko, OIC GM of the Manila International Airport Authority. We will go for a quick break. When we return, we will talk to the MMDA chairman for updates here on Agenda.
Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA. Before getting this appointment, Artes was the agency's general manager. Artes is also a lawyer and a certified public accountant.
Good morning, Chairman Artes. Bakit acting pa? Pamas awarding ka na eh. Okay,
Well,
Chairman,
Yes.
mukhang may delay tayo. So, well, let me get straight to the point. There are concerns about traffic, etc., and yung mga mabuhay lanes, etc. And some people are already complaining na puro naman bus lane. Itong Kalayaan, barado na, yung EDSA, barado na. What are the plans of the MMDA to relieve our traffic situation?
Well, una nag-create tayo ng strike force composed of 72 men, motorcycle riding men, na umiikot yan dito sa mga mabuhay to clear them. Hindi lahat may kasamang towing. Groups of 5 yan, magkaangkas sa motorsiklo. Walang gagawin yan kung hindi ticket ng mga naka-illegal park sa mga mabuhay. So, maraming napupuntahan yan on a daily basis. Ang task natin ay mabalikan natin on a weekly itong mga naka-illegal park para madala sila ma-issuehan ng ticket until such time para ma-clear talaga rin. Kasi pag may dalang towing, matagal bago namin mabalikan even once a year. With this strike force, mabilis yung action. May dala sila under ticketing device, meron yung the cameras. So, mapupuntahan nila mas maraming lugar every day to clear this moment. So, kung meron po kayong mga gustong ipa-clear, ma-prioritize, i-report mo sa amin.
Okay, so meron kayong mga motorcycle units, groups of 3 to 5 who are roving all over Metro Manila, and they are coordinating with the central office para mapadala ng mga tow trucks to clear this. Now, what about the illegal? Oh, okay. I think okay. What about the illegal vendors? Particularly ito, laging kino-complain sa akin, ito yung dyan sa Kalayaan. Kasi sabi nila, Kalayaan yung kalsada, nakakulong naman ang mga sasakyan dahil ginawang parking ng mga kariton, ng mga kotse, etc. It's a big road, but it becomes narrow because of illegal vendors.
Meron po tayong separate groups na nag-clear ng mga illegal vendors. Yan po yung Metro Parkway Clearing. At meron din po it's called i-clear po.
Okay. Chairman.
Just sa po ngayon ng Manila, medyo nahihirapan po.
Okay, Chairman, we'll go for a quick break, Chairman. Maybe i-phoner ko na lang kayo kasi yung ating signal dyan sa cellphone ay mukhang mahina. But we'll come back to you right away. We'll just go for a quick break. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We'll just make some technical adjustment. We'll be right back. Chairman Artes, good morning.
Yes, pa. Good morning.
Okay, ipapatch up na namin kayo.
Apa, good morning.
Okay. Welcome back to the program agenda. Let's give it a second try. MMDA Chairman Romando Artes, good morning again, sir.
Good morning, Cito, and good morning to your viewers.
Okay, thank you for joining us and being patient with us. You were saying earlier that you have teams, you have motorcycle teams roaming Metro Manila, checking for congestion areas, checking for illegally parked vehicles along the Mabuhay lane. Now, are there areas na become challenging because the general impression, and I've checked it myself and with Grab drivers, yung Kalayaan Avenue going towards EDSA from BGC has remained a bottleneck. It's a wide road, but it continues to be a bottleneck. Is there a problem why we cannot clear that area?
Siguro hindi lang po, papuntahan po kaagad namin. Meron naman po tayong separate teams na gumagawa niyan, yung SCOG at yung MPCG under Director Martinez, and then we'll send po a team.
Okay. So, what about the illegal vendors? Sakop pa rin ba niyo yung mga illegal vendors dyan? Or is it something that you have to coordinate with Makati and Taguig?
We usually coordinate, give notice, then pag hindi pa rin po na-clear, we'll send po to clear the area.
Okay. Are you declaring a no-man's zone for Mabuhay lanes during the Christmas holidays?
Hindi lang naman po during Christmas holidays. Buong year po, dapat clear po yan. Kaya nga po tayo gumawa ng strike force para po to make sure na whole year round clear po yan. Dahil alternatibong rota po yan ng ating mga kababayan para makaiwas po ng traffic sa major arteries natin.
Okay. Ano po ang gagawin or what is the MMDA doing about the problem of beggars, mendicants, and street people all over Metro Manila? I've written about it twice as well in my column because when we were bringing tourists all over Metro Manila, it was really intimidating kasi linggo na, ang dami pa nila, nagkalat sila, and even in the outside Metro Manila ngayon, may mga sumasampa na sa mga jeep, sa bus. In Metro Manila, is that part of your concerns or is that for another department?
Pero may programa po ang DSWD dyan, yung tinatawag po nilang pag-abot. And soon we will be launching together with the Office of the First Lady yung Love for All, Christmas for All. I-expand po natin yung programa ng pag-abot ng DSWD kung saan yung pong ating mga street dwellers at yung pong mga namamalimos ay bibigyan po natin ng decent Christmas. I-house po natin sila doon sa mga i-invite po natin sila para ma-house doon sa mga ating quarantine facilities. And then, bibigyan po natin sila ng decent Christmas. I-enroll po sa Dole Tupad kung kailangan. At then, ma-reintegrate po sa society na magkaroon ng maayos na kabuhayan para po hindi na po sila bumalik sa pamamalimos. Yun po yung ating programa na ilo-launch, I think next week, yun pong Love for All, Christmas for All.
Love for All, Christmas for All, a program of First Lady Lisa Araneta Marcos. Now, that is that's a good first step. Yung sinabi mong integrate with local government units, Chairman, does like for instance, let's focus on Kalayaan Avenue. Ang dami talagang nakatira, literally natutulog, nakatira sa bangketa diyan sa lalo na sa ilalim ng mga flyover or mga structures diyan. Are you saying that they will be turned over to the city of Makati, to the city of Taguig to be become a resident? Kasi yun yata ang problema nila eh. Palaboy-laboy, no permanent address.
Yes, unang i-house muna po natin sila sa isang facility para nga po ma-profile, na matingnan kung kailangan ipabalik sila sa probinsya. Meron din pong programa na kung saan bibigyan po sila ng skills training, kasama rin po natin ang Metro Manila Spouses Foundation, bibigyan po sila ng proper grooming, kasama din po natin dito ang DOH for medical check-up. Pero ang pinaka-importante po dito yung profiling and yung reintegration nga po. Hindi naman po necessarily sa Metro Manila, kung kailangan pong ibalik sila sa probinsya ay kasama po sa programa natin yan.
Okay, last question, Chairman. What about our MMDA personnel? Ano naman ang pamasko mo sa kanila?
Well, nagbigay po tayo ng CNA bonus na almost 16,000. Tapos may performance enhancement, PEI po yung tawag na 5,000. So, yun po yung ating binigay na bonus po para sa ating mga personnel this Christmas, Cito.
Oh, okay, so wala silang dahilan para mangantsaw. Okay, so thank you very much, Chairman, and Merry Christmas to you. Sana naman
Salamat
ang
po,
pamasko
Merry
mo
Christmas.
ay maging permanent chairman ka na, hindi acting.
Salamat po. Sana nga po. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Chairman Romando Artes, acting chairman. Sana maging permanent chairman na ng Metro Manila Development Authority. Thank you. God bless you. We'll now go for a quick break and then we go to our last guest for a quick update regarding toll roads, toll expressways, etc. here on Agenda.
The Toll Regulatory Board is eyeing on the full implementation of toll interoperability by the second quarter of 2024. This will allow motorists to use one RFID sticker and e-wallet across all collection systems and expressways. Since September, the TRB has been conducting dry runs for contactless transactions in select toll plazas. This is done to test the readiness of concessionaires for a smooth and efficient re-implementation of their program. In an advisory, the TRB said previously qualified toll plazas will continue to implement the dry run until December 31st. Is the country ready to transition to fully cashless tollways next year? Let's discuss that further on today's agenda.
Okay, on the phone we have Sir Julius Corpuz, spokesperson of the Toll Regulatory Board. It's been a long time, Sir Julius. Good morning to you.
Good morning po, Sir Cito, and I'm really appreciative you still remember me at maraming salamat po for calling me again. And I wish to greet all your followers and viewers in your program agenda. A very good morning to everyone.
Okay, well, I have to share that recently I drove from Pasig to North Sagaray, Bulacan. Then I drove all the way to Lipa City, Batangas. And then after that, I drove to Bawan, Batangas. And I must say, kung walang tollways, walang expressways, palagay ko baka nasa kalsada pa ako. But all this development had been beneficial. It has made travel safe and fast. And now you are doing this integrated toll collection system. How are we? What is the situation?
Okay, thank you very much po, Sir Tito, and we appreciate the good comments that you have given in your travel, and we look forward that your travel will be better in the coming days, as we have two important projects that are now being implemented. The first project that we look forward to, Sir Tito, is our interoperability project, and we have already implemented phase 1 and 2, wherein which either EC3 or AutoShip can be readable on both expressways. And the last phase of which is phase 3, wherein which we envision to just have one RFID tag and with only one wallet. The update on this, Sir Cito, is that by December 20, we look forward into doing a sort of a pilot test, a user test that we will do, but it will be on a very limited basis. So it will be only for the portion of NLEX and Skyway, and only for few selected motorist vehicles. This is to test the system on the third phase, if the phase 3 is doing well as we envision it. But the final objective of which is the full implementation of phase 3, which is one tag and one wallet, is sometime middle of next year. So
okay. What's the second project?
Beg your pardon po.
Is there a second project you were mentioning, or is it all about interoperability?
Yeah. No, there is another project for which is ongoing, Sir Tito. This is what we call the dry run for the contactless program. It is the vision of the TRB as required by some members of Congress and by the policy of the TRB, that someday we will have all cashless, the re-implementation of the cashless program, wherein which we will all be collecting tolls through the use of the electronic toll collection system through the RFID. Now, at the moment, Sir Tito, we are ongoing po yung ating dry run dyan. And it's supposed to end December 31. But recent developments have made it necessary on the part of the toll collection system audit team of TRB and so as TRB management to recommend the extension of the dry run for a number of reasons. Number one, we have new toll plazas that have been recently constructed and about to be constructed. And we also have some toll plazas that are still being upgraded. So this led us to believe or to assess that we need another 4 months to complete all of it for us to be able to fully recommend without hesitation to the DOTR for the possible re-implementation of the cashless program. We have gained. We have, in fact, we had gains in the implementation of our dry run, and the former penetration rate or the RFID user rate versus cash before we implemented the dry run was around 65 to 70. Now it is between 80 to 85. Meaning to say, many of our motorists are now switching to the use of the RFID system or ETC system through the RFID, wherein which they felt the convenience and the fast transaction time they experience passing through our toll plazas.
Congratulations, Sir Julius. I can actually say that that program has been successful. Unfortunately, we're down to our last minute. Medyo nagkaroon kami ng technical glitch. So we'll probably invite you back for another episode. But in the meantime, congratulations to the TRB. At least kahit papano, we are now 80% penetration on the use of RFID system. And in 4 to 6 months, hopefully, ma-recommend yun na yung contactless, cashless transactions at Toll Plaza. Thank you very much, Sir Julius Corpuz.
Maraming salamat po, Sir Cito, and may I greet all our motorists and so as our friends in your program, Agenda, and in Cignal. Have a happy holiday. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's the spokesperson of the Toll Regulatory Board, Julius Corpuz. That's good news, 80% penetration. So kung hindi pa po kayo gumagamit ng RFID, please try it out because I can guarantee you, you save hours in a month if you're a regular traveler. Actually, you save a day or so imbis na pumipila pa kayo. Okay, let's now go to our blessing for the week. From the book of Psalms, if I'm not mistaken, chapter 34, verses 4 to 5. Please bear this in mind. I sought the Lord, and He answered me. He delivered me from all my fears. Those who look to Him are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame. May you always seek the Lord in everything, in thanksgiving, in need, or in difficulty. I do hope you turn to the Lord. Okay, that's all we have for today. Thank you for joining us. It was fast, it was busy, it was loaded, but that covers most of your agenda. Thank you. God bless all of you. Please keep it here on One News.